Okay, guys, let's review for the second part of our test over polynomials and powers. Let's take a look at these powers here. These are a bit complicated. So here we have the product rule. I'm going to go ahead and square 4, which is 16. Oops, let's get a different color. So 16, we have an a to the first times a to the negative 2. Then we have a b to the fourth times b to the 0. And now we need to move a to the negative 1 to the bottom. Okay, now we're going to use the quotient and the product rule here. We have several things going on. You can see in the numerator, I'm going to combine my m's, and then in the denominator, I'm going to combine the n's. And then we'll do the quotient rule. So 6 squared is 36. M to the negative 3 times m to the positive 1 is m to the negative 2. In our denominator, we have 2 to the fourth, which is 16. We have n to the third times n to the second, that's n to the fifth. I'm going to simplify 36 over 16 by a factor of 4. And then we have an m and an n, and we're going to say negative 2 minus negative 1. That gives us negative 1 on the m, and negative 3 minus 5 gives us negative 8. So we're going to rewrite this, and we're going to move both the m and the n to the bottom. Okay, now we're going to talk about powers to a power here. Again, we have several j's, several k's. We're going to remember that the 4 and the 3 both have an exponent of 1, and so does this j. So before we apply this outside 3 and multiply it, let's go ahead and combine the j's and the k's. So I'm going to have 4 to the first and 3 to the first, and then we have a j and a k. So we're going to have 1 minus 4. 1 minus this 4 is negative 3. And then we have negative 2 minus negative 2. Keep, change, that's going to be 0. Okay, now let's go ahead and just apply this outside 3 and multiply. So we're going to have 4 to the third, j to the negative 9, k to the 0, and 3 to the third. I'm going to evaluate my 4 and get 64. We're going to move j to the bottom and make it positive 9. K to the 0 is 1, so I don't need that. And then 3 to the third is 27. And there's your final answer. Okay, we're going to write these in standard form, determine the degree of each term in each polynomial, and identify the leading coefficient and classify. So here, this is a degree of 3. So this is our cubic. This term is a degree of 4, so I'm just going to write the degrees on the top. And this has a degree of 0. So to put it in standard form, we're going to rewrite it this way. And the leading coefficient is 7. And this is a trinomial with a degree of 4, because we have to combine this and this. So a degree of 4. Okay, here's our next one. This term has a degree of 2. This is my degree of 0, and this is a degree of 4. So if we move them around to write it in standard form, we have negative c to the fourth plus 9c squared plus 5. So this is a quartic trinomial. Okay, our third one, this has a degree of 1, a degree of 2, and a degree of 5. So we have 7x. Oh, let me go back here. Sorry. The leading coefficient would be negative 1. Okay, the leading coefficient is negative 1. Here we have 7x to the fifth minus 3x squared plus 9x. This is going to be a quintic trinomial. We have one term here, so it's a monomial with a degree of 5, and the leading coefficient is the understood 1 out front. Okay, let's multiply some polynomials. So we're going to double distribute. We get 4x squared plus 10x minus 10x minus 25. Combine the linear terms. And we have a quadratic binomial. Now on this one, please don't forget, you must write out, we have 3x minus 6 quantity squared. We have 2 of these binomials. Now we're going to double distribute. And we're going to combine the 2 middle terms, the 2 linear terms. And we have a quadratic trinomial. Now we have a monomial times a binomial, so we're just going to distribute. Here we have a cubic binomial. 9x times 2x, 18x squared. 9x times negative 3, negative 27x. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Combine the linear terms. And we have a quadratic trinomial. Okay, let's divide. So we're going to divide this monomial into this trinomial. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. Oh, let's make, this should be an x here. Sorry about that. Okay, and then x to the 5th divided by x to the 1st is x to the 4th. Subtract your exponents. Minus 4x squared minus 3. And that's it, no x. The x's cancel out. So we have a quartic trinomial. Okay, here we have a binomial divided by a monomial. So we're going to have 3. And again, this should be an x as well. My apologies. And so that's going to be 3x to the 3rd minus 2x to the 1st. So we have a cubic binomial. So Drew subtracted this trinomial from this trinomial, so we have to flip-flop negative 5x squared minus x plus 1, subtract 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. So we're going to keep the first one as it is. We're going to change subtract to add, and then change all of these to their opposite signs. And we're going to combine like terms. So our quadratic term is negative 8x squared. Our linear term is negative 7x. And our constant is 2, a quadratic trinomial. Jill added this trinomial to this. So again, we have to flip-flop. So when it's added to and subtracted from, we flip-flop the order that we see it. So basically, we are just going to combine like terms here. So we have negative 5x squared plus 3x squared, negative 2x squared. We have negative 1x plus 6x, that's plus 5x. And then positive 1 minus 1 is 0. So we just have a quadratic binomial. And I hope this helps.